She banged on my grandpa's door like she wanted to break it down, screaming, "Open up! HOA inspection!" Even though our land had never been part of any HOA. Grandpa, old but sharp, stared at her through the window and whispered to me, "She's back." And she brought friends. Before I could even step outside, she slapped a bright red notice on our door and yelled, "He's being removed today. He's too old to live alone." My HOA approved it. The crazy thing? 3 men in fake police shirts walked onto our porch like they owned the place. One of them pointed at Grandpa and said, "Sir, come with us, now." Grandpa shook his head, terrified, but stubborn. "This is my land. I built this house with my own hands." She smirked, almost enjoying his fear, and said, "Not anymore. This neighborhood follows my rules." That's when something snapped inside me. I stepped forward, calm but burning inside, and asked her, "Who gave you the right to touch my grandpa?" She laughed like I was a joke and whispered, "Sweetheart, I run this place. And you? You're nothing." She didn't know the truth. That I had just returned from deployment 2 months ago, and I could spot fake cops from a mile away. When one of the fake officers tried to grab Grandpa's arm, I noticed his badge peeling off, like it was printed that morning. One more second and they would have dragged him away. I took a slow breath, stepped between them, and said the line that made all 3 of them freeze. "Touch him again, and you'll find out why the Army trained me for people exactly like you." The fake cop's hand dropped instantly, and Karen's smile cracked for the first time. She whispered, "Wait, you're military?" I didn't answer. I just stared, and for a moment, even she felt something close to fear. Karen tried to recover her fake confidence, but her voice shook a little as she stepped closer. "He's getting removed today," she said. "Military or not." The 3 fake cops stood behind her, waiting for a signal, but they didn't move as fast now. Grandpa tugged my sleeve gently and whispered, "Don't start a fight. That's what she wants." I nodded, but I also knew something he didn't. People like her never stop unless you push back hard. Karen suddenly lifted her phone and said loudly, "Real police are on their way." And trust me, they listened to me. The way she said it felt rehearsed, like she had done it to other neighbors already. I asked her again, "Why are you doing this? What do you get from scaring old people?" She smiled like she was proud of it. "Because rules matter," she said. "And if your grandpa can't keep up, I remove the problem." That word hit me. Remove. Like she was talking about trash, not a man who had survived 2 wars. Before I could respond, the sound of a tow truck echoed down our road. Karen turned her head with a slow grin. "Good timing. His truck is violating HOA visibility rules, so it's getting towed right now." Grandpa's face fell. That truck was his last piece of pride. He drove it every morning like a ritual. I rushed toward the driveway, but Karen blocked my path with her arm. "Touch me," she whispered, "and I'll have them take you, too." That's when I noticed something strange. One of the fake cops kept looking at the woods, behind our house, like he was scared of something out there. His hands were shaking. He wasn't nervous because of me. He was nervous because he knew something was coming. I watched him step back as if preparing to run, and then Karen said something that made my skin crawl. "Be ready. When the real cops show up, make sure the old man doesn't say a word." I stared at her, confused. Why would she care what Grandpa said? What truth was she scared he would tell? Grandpa looked at me with this heavy, tired sadness, like he'd been forced silent before. And that's when I realized this wasn't the first time she tried to take him. Grandpa's eyes said more than his mouth ever had. He kept staring at Karen like she was some shadow from his past, someone he wished he had exposed years ago. Before I could ask him anything, the tow truck driver jumped out and walked straight toward Grandpa's old pickup. He didn't even look around, didn't check paperwork, nothing. He hooked the chain like he already knew the order. I shouted, "Hey, that's private property!" He didn't answer. He didn't blink. He just worked like a man who was scared to lose his job if he paused even a second. Karen clapped her hands slowly. "See? Things move faster when I handle them." She stepped so close I could feel her breath. "Your grandpa had his chance. Today he leaves." Grandpa's hand tightened on my arm. "Let it go," he whispered again. But I wasn't letting anything go. Not this time. I turned toward Karen, but before I could speak, The fake cop with the shaky hands finally cracked. He muttered, "Ma'am, this isn't what we agreed on." She shot him a deadly glare. "You keep quiet," she hissed. "You're getting paid, aren't you?" That one line told me everything. This was planned, rehearsed, and paid for. Not a power trip. Not random, a setup. I stepped closer to the shaky cop. "Who hired you?" He swallowed hard. "She said her HOA has authority to remove vulnerable residents," he whispered. She said he wasn't safe here. "Anymore." Karen instantly grabbed his arm and squeezed it so tight he winced. "You talk again," she whispered. "And you won't get a penny." Something clicked in my head. Why would she spend money? Hire fake cops, order a tow truck, and risk so much just to kick out an old man? There had to be something bigger behind this. I looked back at Grandpa. He wouldn't meet my eyes now. He was hiding something she wanted. Before I could get a word out of him, the sound of real sirens rolled down the street. Karen raised her chin like a queen waiting for her army. "Perfect," she whispered. "Time for you to watch how things really work around here." But the shaky fake cop wasn't looking at the road. He was staring at Grandpa with real fear, like he knew exactly what was about to go wrong. And Grandpa just whispered the strangest thing I'd ever heard him say. "They're not coming for me. They're coming for her." The real police car rolled up slow, too slow, like they already knew the situation wasn't normal. Karen straightened her jacket and fixed her hair, acting like she owned the whole street. "Finally," she said, smiling wide. "Now he's gone for good." But the moment the officers stepped out, something shifted. They didn't look at Grandpa. They didn't look at me. Their eyes locked straight on Karen. The shaky fake cop took 2 steps back, like he expected this. Karen's smile froze. "Officers, this man is refusing." One of them cut her off. "Ma'am, we received multiple reports, all filed against you." She blinked fast. Against me? That's a mistake." The officer held up a tablet. "Trespassing, harassment, impersonation of HOA authority. Plus something else, something you already know about." Her face drained. Her lips trembled. Who filed that?" The officer pointed to our porch. "Your neighbor." And he added video evidence. Karen whipped her head toward Grandpa, and for the first time, I saw real panic on her face. "You didn't," she whispered. Grandpa didn't move. He didn't even lift his head. He just said, "I warned you the first time. You didn't listen." My stomach flipped. First time, Grandpa? What is he talking about? Karen stepped forward wildly. "He's lying." "He lied years ago, and he's lying now." But the shaky fake cop suddenly raised his hands like he was surrendering. "Ma'am, I didn't sign up for this," he said, his voice breaking. "You told us nobody would check. You said the old man had no proof." The officer looked at him sharply. "Sir, are you identifying yourself as a participant in her scheme?" He nodded, shaking so badly he could barely speak. She paid us to act like police. Said it was an emergency removal. Said we'd be protected because she had connections." Karen snapped. "Shut up. You idiots were supposed to follow my lead." The tow truck driver froze with the chain still in his hand. He looked at Karen like he finally realized he might get arrested too. But in that chaos, Grandpa finally lifted his head, and his voice changed, stronger, clearer. "You tried this 20 years ago," he said. "Back then, you wanted my land, and now you want it again." Karen's face twisted, and the officer turned to Grandpa. "Sir, what exactly does she want on your land?" Grandpa looked straight at me, almost apologetic, and said, "There's something buried here, something she was never supposed to find." And just like that, everything we thought this was about, HOA rules, harassment, towing, fell apart. This was bigger, deeper, and Karen wasn't done yet. She stared at the woods behind our house, the same place that fake cop kept glancing at. Something was back there, something they all knew about. Karen's hands trembled as she stared toward the woods. "No, it can't be," she muttered almost under her breath. The fake cop flinched, stepping back as if expecting ghosts to jump out at him. Grandpa's eyes narrowed, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of fire in his old face. "It's been here too long. Too many secrets," he said quietly. I followed his gaze and saw a faint outline, near the edge of the trees. Something covered with a tarp. half hidden by shadows. Karen took a step forward, desperate. "You can't! That's mine!" Her voice cracked, but she kept moving closer, trying to grab whatever was hidden. I stepped in front of her. "Stop, this isn't your land. And whatever that is, you won't get it." The real police officers stayed silent, just watching, but their presence made her panic grow faster. Suddenly, a branch snapped and the tarp shifted, revealing a chest, old and locked, with symbols carved into the wood. Karen's eyes widened. "Where did you get that?" she screamed. Grandpa's lips twitched. "I told you. I've protected this for decades. You never learn." One of the fake cops bolted, shouting that he quit, while Karen lunged toward the chest. But I moved faster. My hands closed around hers as she tried to pry it open, her face twisted with rage and fear. "You don't understand. I have rights. I have connections. I cut her off. "Not here. Not today." That's when the real shock hit. Grandpa slowly reached for a key hidden in his sleeve and smiled faintly at me. "Time to see who really owns the past. And who's always been lying." Karen froze. Her confidence cracked completely as the first lock clicked open. And as the chest slowly creaked, something heavy shifted. Something she'd risked everything to hide. Inside were documents, old maps, and papers proving that the land, every inch of it, had been in our family for generations, far before her HOA even existed. Karen's jaw dropped. No, that can't be real." Grandpa looked at her calmly. "It's real, and you've spent years pretending. Authority over something that's never been yours." Her fake courage evaporated. She backed away slowly, almost shaking. And in that moment, I realized this was just the beginning. She wasn't just after the land. She wanted the chest, the proof, and the secret it held. And if she got it, she could destroy everything we had built. Karen's hands hovered over the chest, but she didn't dare touch it. Her breathing was fast, uneven. "You don't know what you're dealing with," she hissed. Grandpa leaned closer to me and whispered, "She's desperate. That chest. It holds what she's been chasing her whole life." I glanced at the papers and maps. Inside, old deeds, letters, and even a small safe envelope marked with a symbol I'd never seen before. Karen's eyes flicked to the envelope, her face draining of color. "Give it to me!" she shouted. I held it tightly. "No, that's not yours. Never was." She lunged anyway. But before she could grab it, one of the real cops stepped in, forcing her back. "Ma'am, step away. This is evidence of fraud, harassment, and impersonation," the officer said firmly. Karen froze. Her plan, all of it, crumbling around her. Then she did something unexpected. She ran toward the woods, yelling, "You think this stops me? I'll get it back." I was about to chase her when Grandpa shook his head. "No, let her go. She'll show her true self." And she did. A rustle in the trees, a scream, a loud thud, and suddenly she stumbled out, covered in mud and scratches, trying to hide the chest she had grabbed in her panic. But the real twist hit when the shaky fake cop pointed. She didn't get far. "I saw someone else following her." I turned slowly. From the shadows of the trees, a figure stepped forward, a man in dark clothes, silent, watching Karen like a predator. Grandpa's face went pale. I thought she was the only one. But he's been waiting all this time, too. Karen froze completely. She had no idea this hidden figure wasn't on her side. And I realized in that instant, whatever secrets she wanted, someone else knew about them, too. And they weren't messing around. Karen's fake bravado was gone. She looked at me, then the officers, then back at the figure. And for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. And I knew this night wasn't just about land anymore. It was about everything she had lied about, and everyone she had underestimated. The figure stepped closer, and Karen's knees almost buckled. Who are you?" she stammered. The man removed his hood, revealing a face she clearly recognized. Her eyes went wide, and for a moment, I thought she might faint. "You!" she whispered, shaking. Grandpa looked at me and then at the man. "I didn't think I'd see him again," he said softly. Karen's fake courage crumbled entirely as the real cops moved in, ready to arrest her for everything: harassment, fraud, impersonation, even attempted theft of property. She tried to run, but the man from the woods blocked her path calmly, effortlessly. "It's over," he said. Karen screamed, but no one listened. Every lie she had built for years collapsed in seconds. Grandpa stepped forward, holding the chest tightly. "You wanted what wasn't yours," he said quietly, "and now everyone can see it." The officers escorted her away as she shouted and cried, trying to make excuses that didn't exist. I looked at Grandpa, the chest, and then at the papers inside, the proof of our land, our family, and decades of history. Relief flooded through me. "Grandpa, it's done," I said. He smiled, tired but proud. "It's done, and no one will touch this land ever again." I leaned back, finally letting the tension drain, watching Karen being taken away while the sun began to rise over our property. The air smelled like freedom, like victory. Grandpa turned to me and said softly, "Sometimes the people who seem strongest are the weakest when the truth comes out." I nodded, holding his shoulder. "And sometimes the quiet ones are the most dangerous," he chuckled. "You learned that, young man. That's all that matters." That night, our family sat together, the chest between us, and for the first time in years, I felt safe. Not just because we had protected our land, but because we had exposed the lies, the fake authority, and the people who thought they could control others. And somewhere deep down, I knew, no matter what Karen tried in the future, nothing could ever break us again.